The Fresh and Green Company has a savings plan for employees. If an employee makes an initial deposit of that's not 10,000, that's $1,000, the company pays 8% interest compounded quarterly. If an employee withdraws the money after 5 years, how much is in the account? Okay, so let's see. We start with an initial deposit of $1,000, and notice it says that it's interest compounded. So that means we're using the compound interest formula. I'll write that down. By now, you should have it memorized. And it's telling you the initial deposit. So this time it's giving you the principal of 1,000. The rate is 0.08. The number of times compounded says quarterly. There are 4 quarters in a year, so that's going to be n equals 4, and the time is 5 years. How much is in the account? So how much are they going to be withdrawing out? We're just going to write down the formula, put everything in, and then hopefully you should get 1485.95. Nice little investment earned. Okay, so number 17 is continuing from number 16. So really and truly, this problem should have been in this box here. So using the information for number 16, this time it just says, well, what if the money is withdrawn 35 years later? So I'm going to use the exact same formula, just change the time to 35. So 1,000 times 1 plus 0.08 over 4. This time it's 4 times 35. You get for this answer a much bigger amount. They will have $15,996.47 if they wait 35 years. Okay, so the next problem should be numbered number 18 because it's a totally different question from 16 and 17, and it's not asking for you to connect the information or anything at all. It says Mr. and Mrs. Boyce bought a house for $96,095. Real estate values in their area increase approximately 4% each year. What was the value of the house in 2007? This says it's got an increase in the rate of value 4%. Tells you that we're looking at a growth formula. And the growth formulas are y equals the amount, 1 plus the rate, raised to the power of the time. So our A is 96,000. If you want to just go straight to the formula, you may do so. You don't have to write all this out on the side. I just like to do that to identify everything neatly before I plug it in. And then the time was, well, let's see. It doesn't tell you. All it tells you is 95 to 2007. So from 1995 to 2007, how many years is that? All right, let's add it up. That is 12 years. 7 plus 5 is 12. So I'm going to put all of this into the growth formula, and you should get a value of the house of, that is so sloppy. You should get a value of the house to be $153,699.09. First National Bank is offering 4.25 interest on an account. Susan makes an initial deposit of 20,000. Calculate the interest using simple interest, and then calculates the interest using compound interest annually, and then compound interest quarterly and monthly. This is going to be a big copy paste job because all of the values are going to be the same, except the only difference is going to be the number of times it's compounded? Well, let's just start with the simple interest. For that one, we know we're using the formula A equals P times 1 plus my rate times the time. And the principal amount is $20,000. The rate is the same. It's not going to change. It's 4.25%, but we want to make this to a decimal. So it's going to be 0.0425. And the time is in 20 years. So put all of this into your formula, and the answer for this one should be 37,000 using simple interest. Now, if I were to use compound interest annually tells me that my number of times compounded is 1. So I'm going to have all the same information, except I'm going to be using the compound interest formula, which is a little bit more work. And let's get the numbers wrote out. The P is 20,000 again. The rate, 0.0425. The number of times compounded is 1. And the time, again, is 20. Put all that in your calculator. You're going to get $45,978.13. A lot more than just simple interest. All right, so I'm not going to write the formula down for the next two, but let's just know this. Everything is the same. We're going to use the same compound formula, the same principal, the same rate, the same time. What's going to be different for C and D is the compound, so the N should be different. If it says compounded quarterly, that means these 4 times a year, so N is 4. And compounded monthly means my N is 12 because there's 12 months in a year. If you set up all the information, I'm going to go ahead and give you those answers. You can go back and substitute the values, see if you get the same thing. And this is kind of sloppy. Let me write that again. I have $46,583.59 for this one. And for the last one, I got $46,722.72.